in the resource in the Microsoft Office project, that is resource defining and assigning. So here in the question, as you can see, to define and assign the resource to complete the task in your project. So it gives the complete duration and as well as the cost. So in this question we are having some activities. So in the example one we are having, so the activities from 1 to 16. So the activities, it includes start, DPP, land acquisition, requisition, tender document preparation, tender. So like that there are we are having 16 activities and as well as the duration of each and every activity and the predecessors are given. So this is the Microsoft project, as you can see. So first of all, from change the new task, that is from manually scheduled to auto scheduled. So here for example we will be entering the activities from A to, we will consider the activities as alphabets from A to A, B, C. So we'll be starting from the first line. So activity A. So we'll consider start as A, DPP as B, land acquisition as C, tender document as D, tender as E. So similarly we'll be giving the activities as alphabets up to 16. H I J K L M N O P. So here you can see the activities from 1 to 16. Here also you can see the activities 1 to 16. Instead of the activity names, here I have given the alphabets, that is from A to P. So similarly we will enter the durations. Here you can see in the question the duration. So we will enter the durations 0, 3, 5, 7, 9, 7, 5, 4, 3, 15, 20, 4, 3, 4, 6, 0. So after entering the activities and as well as the duration, we have to enter the predecessors. So we will enter the predecessors. So for start there is no predecessor. Similarly we are going to leave the blank. So for B they have given the predecessor as 1. So here the predecessor will be 1. For C, so it will be 2, 3, 4, 5, again 5, then 6 comma 7, 8, 9, 9 comma 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So as we can see in the question, they had given activities, duration and predecessor. We have entered the details in the MSP software. So after entering the details in the Gantt chart, you can scroll down. So where you can see, where you can find the resource sheet. So click on resource sheet. So here you can see resource name, type, material, initial, group, maximum, standard rate, cost rate, accurate, base, calendar, code. So here in the question we can see they have given the resource name, certain some 5 resources, that is project manager, site engineer, surveyor, workers, equipment, and they have given the maximum units of each and every resources, that is project manager 2, site 2, surveyor 1, workers 20, and they have given the rate. So we will enter the same details in the resource sheet. So first resource is project manager. We will enter the details as project manager. Next is site engineer. Next is surveyor. Fourth is workers. Next, equipment. you can enter many resources. So for example, like cement, sand, steel, sand, steel. So all the materials that are involved in the construction activities. So here we can see that project manager comes under the type as work, site engineer work, surveyor work, equipment we can consider this equipment also work. So whereas this cement, sand, steel we should change the type as work from to material. So later in the question we can see the maximum units, we'll enter the maximum units. So project manager is 2, site engineer is 2, surveyor is 1, and workers is 20, and equipment is there given 0. Later we should enter the standard rate. So here you can see these rates are in the rupees. Here we are seeing it is the unit as dollars. So first let us change the unit as dollar from dollars to rupees. So click on file, go to options, so in the options dialog box you can see the display. So in the display currency options for this project, so let us change from currency US dollars to Indian rupees, that is INR. And in the schedule, sorry, so we'll change from it has been changed from US dollar to Indian rupees. Later you can go to schedule. So sometimes this assignment units it will be in the percentage, so it is better to fix in the decimal and then click OK. So now you can see the standard rates, it has been showing in the rupees units. So for the project manager the rate is 400 per day. These are the rates are just assumptions. We will change the rates, that is 400 per day. So instead of hours we will change to days. So for site engineer it is 350, so here we'll change to 350 per day. For surveyor it is 300, so we'll change from 300 per day. So surveyor is 300. Next is workers, so workers 250 per day. And then equipment 500 per machine, so we'll change to, so instead of machine we'll give 500 per day, so we'll be taking the equipments as rent. So after entering the resource name and as well as the maximum number and standard rate, so then let us go to Gantt chart. So here in the first we have entered the activities, that is from 1 to 16 as well as the duration and predecessors. So now we have to assign the resources which we have already defined in the resource sheet. So that is here you can see, so we have already defined the resources. So now it's the time to assign the resource for each and every activities. So click on the Gantt chart. So in the activity 1, so that is for example it is A, so here there is no resource assigned, so let us consider the activity 2, so that is activity 2 is B. So in the activity B, so we require one project manager, one site engineer, 2 workers and 1 equipment. So similarly we will assign those resource for the activity B. So double click on B activity. Here you can see the activity name as B. So here you can see general, predecessors, resources. So as we are assigning the resources, click on the resources. So click on the resource name. So the materials or the resources which we have already created in the resource sheet, it is showing here. So for example, project manager we required in the activity B. So select project manager. So on the number of project manager required is 1. So let it be 1. So on the site engineer required is 1. So again select one site engineer. So on the unit is 1. So similarly the workers, the number of workers required is 2. So we will select the workers and we'll change the units to 2. So and then one equipment is required, so select the equipment and we'll give 1. Okay. So similarly for the next activity, that is third activity, we require one site engineer, one surveyor, 5 workers and 3 equipment. So similarly as we did in the previous case, so double click on C activity and you can find the resources. So you can start assigning the resources. So we require one site engineer, one surveyor and we require 5 workers, change from 1 to 5 and then equipment is required, so select equipment and you give 3. Okay. So similarly we'll assign the resources for fourth activity, that is D. So for example D. So D activity requires one site engineer, one surveyor, we require only one surveyor and one project manager. Okay. So similarly you will be assigning the different resources for each and every activities. So later, so our main aim is to find out the duration and as well as the cost required for this project. So we will insert 2 columns. So one is, so for insert column, right click in the add new column, insert column. So as we are going to find out the cost, you can select the cost. So select cost and as we are finding one more thing is that is final duration. So select the option duration. So here you can see the amount required for each and every particular activity. So here we have to find out the total cost and as well as the duration. So right click in the one, you can insert task. For example, you can change your project name as you can change the name as your project name as XYZ. So in order to find out the total duration and as well as the cost, so you need to make all these activities as indent task. So indent task is nothing but in the project name XYZ, these are all the activities that are going to come. So for example, you can see in the XYZ project we are having certain list of activities, that is from A to P. So here you can see the total cost and as well as the duration that is required. So after entering all the resources in different activities, you can get the total duration and as well as the project cost.